ultimate competitive advantage.
Mm.
And that's by Jack Welch, who's the former CEO of General Electric. He's one of the most popular CEOs of probably anyone's time that's alive right now, and he really did amazing things for that company and this country. But that's a very interesting concept, and it's more applicable today than it was when he was around, because of the speed of technology, because of the speed that everything's changing in our economy. Knowledge is quickly becoming outdated. And I heard Pat Riley say one time, basically he said that, anything that you know right now is quickly becoming obsolete. And the advantage that Jack Welch is talking about is being able to learn that quickly allows you to constantly stay competitive in what I'm sure most of you have seen as a very competitive world, in particular in the United States right now.
Sure. Nick, we were talking the other day, wasn't it? Didn't you mention something like knowledge is doubling every 5 years now?
Yeah. There's an interesting stat I came across. It said that in the last 5 years, there had been more information created, more unique information created, than in the rest of humanity combined. So basically, in the last 5 years, we created more unique information than the last 50,000 years of our entire time.
That's a lot of tweets.
Yeah, that's a lot of tweets. That's a lot of Facebook wall updates. No, there's a lot going on, and it's impossible to keep up with all of it, really. But what you can do is create a specialty that you're going to focus on, that plan that we're talking about, and then make sure that you're constantly staying up to date and relevant with the information that's being created in that area. So thanks for bringing that up, Bill, because I think that's definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, no, that's terrific.
A lot of job seekers are interested in,
Yeah, no doubt.
So let's move on to the next one. The process. And this is a really important one because I think something that's very relevant is the plunge to the job search that I mentioned before. I heard a lady who was telling me a story. She's a very bright lady, has a master's degree from Harvard. She was telling me a story how she went whitewater rafting one time. And on the bus ride up to the river, they kept telling her, if you ever go overboard, grab your knees, plug your nose, and reach up, and the oar will be there, right? And so they had this little phrase that they had people keep repeating over and over and over and over and over and over. And she's sitting there after 20 minutes on this bus ride thinking, guys, I got it. Thank you very much for the help. But then she went overboard. And believe it or not, the water was freezing. And if you've ever been in a rapid river, you know that it's very hard to get your direction going. And it's easy to be overwhelmed. It's easy to feel like you don't really have any direction. But sure enough, she listened to those answers of grab your knees, plug your nose, and reach up, and the oar will be there. And she made it out okay. And that's really what the process that we're creating right now is you might be a little overwhelmed, you might be a little confused as to what direction to go in. But by having a process or a system that you can reference, and this isn't to say that you can't sort of go off on your own tangents and formulate this system to work best for you, but if you have some sort of core system that you can reference, it acts as a guideline, especially when you find yourself somewhat disoriented with the situation, which happens to a lot of job seekers, no matter how old they are. So the first step in the process is to ask yourself questions. If you know yourself, you're putting yourself at a tremendous advantage no matter what. And the questions are really important because they're going to give you the natural answers to the directions that you should start to consider. And unless you really have a good understanding of yourself and where you think you'd want to go, you could find yourself surfing the internet for job postings for a very, very long time, right? Because as we know, those aren't getting any shorter. So the next step after asking questions is make decisions. You write down all your questions, create a list. That'll start to sort of point you in the right direction. Now it comes time for you to start to make decisions on where you think those answers are telling you to go. Okay? and then you start taking those and start moving in a direction. And so once you start making those decisions, you'll have an idea of the type of positions or the type of jobs or the type of environments or the type of industries that you'd like to find yourself working in. So then once we do that, you need to take action. Right? And taking action is really, in this case, exploring the opportunities. You know, there was another stat I saw 5 years ago that was basically saying, you know, some of the top 10 most in-demand jobs right now didn't exist 5 years ago. And when you think about what that means for a job seeker, it means that it's impossible to keep up with everything that's going on. By having a good direction of where you want to go, you can actually focus your energy and your efforts on trying to find the relevant information and where you think you would like to go. And that's what taking action is. It's exploring the opportunities that you think you'll be interested in. And after you do that in some depth, you analyze the results. And Bill and I will probably talk on this one a little bit later on in the presentation, because we had a great conversation on this the other day. But analyzing the results is tremendously important. And that's because, I think Bill actually threw this one out. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Boy, yeah, that's so true. And just real quick, Nick, one aspect I want to share, one quick tidbit that I know has helped save job seekers hours and hours, and that is we were talking about this the other day as well, about what does the individual want to do initially is go and get on the job boards and throw out as many resumes as possible. And what happens, unfortunately, and that's where the frustration gets into a job seeker, is because literally, depending upon which survey you go by, but 20 to 40% of the jobs on the job boards don't even exist anymore. They've been filled 2-3 months ago, and the HR director never took them off the job board. And you talk about the definition of insanity. Well, if you're doing that over and over, sending out resumes with no responses, yeah, that's, it's not going to give you your marginal rate of return, as we say, in economics. One quick tidbit is use something called watchthatpage.com, watchthatpage.com. And as we were talking about yesterday, Nick, what an individual can do, and it's free. But you sign up for that, and then you go on the job board of, say, a company you'd like to go to work for, say it's Home Depot, and you copy that URL, that job board of Home Depot, and every time that job board is changed, in other words, a new job is put on it, you'll get an email notification, so at least you're one of the first people, internet-wise, to see that job opening. But I'm sorry, I just want to throw that in there, Nick, because this is this process is so important, analyzing the results and being able to make those changes.
Yeah, and that actually, your comment right there is, again, for everyone listening, super valuable. Being able to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on with technology. We talk about how it's almost impossible to do it everywhere, but it's important to also make sure you're utilizing technology to your advantage. And that's something that Bill just touched on. It's a very good way to do that. But the other thing that I just thought of when you were saying that, Bill, is there also is a tremendous number of jobs that get filled before they even make it to the internet sometimes. I'm sure you've seen that in your experience, Bill. Is someone knows someone who knows someone, and then that's how they end up finding the job. And that's networking. Right. Yeah, which is something, we're not really going to have too much time to cover today, but certainly something that, I talk about in great depth, and I'm sure you do as well, Bill. But it's very valuable.
That's our next month's speaker, actually.
Oh, really?
Nice segue there, Nick. Very good.
Yeah, I set that one up on purpose. So that's basically the process that I recommend for everyone. And, of course, you can tweak and alter this process and customize it so it fits your particular scenario well. But it's definitely a good guideline. And here at the bottom, I like this one. There are no secrets to success. It is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. And that's from Colin Powell. But the quotes like this go back centuries upon centuries. Einstein said, for every one time I failed 99 times before that. And it's true. It really is true. You don't know how many times you're going to hit that brick wall before you actually get the one that goes over it, but you just have to be willing to keep trying until you do. But that's not to say, as you can see through this process, that you just keep doing it blindly and hoping that it's going to work out. You're making sure that you're analyzing your results and asking more questions to see if there's a better way to go about doing it. And the interesting thing about this process is it's a crucial part of problem solving. And at the end of the day, what I tell all my clients is, companies hire problem solvers. Your job as an employee is to add value to that business or that organization or whatever it is. And the job of the organization and the business is to add value to their customers' lives. And you do that through solving problems.
Well, that's so true. We forget that really, why does someone hire someone? It's because they're going to make their job easier a lot of times. And remembering that yes, you're a problem solver and you're there to make their job easier. And if you convince them of that, well, good things will hopefully happen.
Yeah, and again, that's something else that I talk about quite a bit. I'm actually going to be offering for people on the call today a free copy of a little problem solving and quick business overview that I give to everybody that people have found very helpful for their job search process.
Thank you.
We're not going to have
That's
time
great.
going today, but yeah, of course, Bill. I mean, you mentioned the type of people that are going to be on the call today, and it's the least I can do. So going on to the next slide here. You want to take this one, Bill?
Yes, indeed. Well, I'll take a quick break here and just share with you a little bit about what we're involved with, and that is, certainly as I mentioned, we're here to take the guesswork out of finding a job. Simple, plain as that. And we've, so far through our system, we have helped literally over 250,000 job seekers. We include in it a professional career coach. We have a rapid response team, as we call it. So if you have a question about an interview that you went on, or anything employment-wise at least, we will have one of our professional career coaches respond to you directly in an email. And the requirements of our rapid response team to be a professional coach is they have to have at least 10 years experience as an employment consultant. So you know that you're getting someone with tenured experience and with good knowledge that they are willing to share. It is 10 complete steps. It consists of 70-plus short videos with bullet points that will help you there, and then also several audios. And it is, as we say, edutaining. It's entertaining and educational at the same time. You actually have your own personal office that you can grow as you go through each step and graduate. You can add items on your desk, a pizza, a soda, whichever. And we do that again to to help ease the pain a little bit of gaining some knowledge about how to interview and some shortcuts there. It also incorporates a scoreboard where you can track and follow-up system of employers, so it's in one simple spot there for you. And you can pick which step you need to go. The challenge today is that, and there has been for years, is that how do I go about finding this job? What is the process? And it really is a process. It is like baking a cake, whether that's a carrot cake or a coconut cake. There's some of the processes that are exactly the same. And the same is true as far as finding a position in a career. There is actually a process. And Nick, you mentioned networking.